our topic for today. So publish or perish. Okay, so let me see. Can I see a raise of hand that who needs to get published here? Our audience, how many? How many do we have that you need to publish? Actually, publishing right now is if you're in, let's say, I've known a lot of teachers in the Philippines that need to publish for to get some action researches published. So I think it's related to promotion, yes. No, and then the overview will be like as you shown in the screen. So I just go forward. Okay. So I was asking, do you need a copy published? So it's easy to get published. Sometimes it's if you're lucky, it's easy. So but definitely it's not easy to get published. So, but if you do the work, I mean, if you did the work right, so you need to prepare a good preparation, it would be easier. Okay, so I'll give you a lot of tips. Okay, so and right now there's a lot of artificial intelligence. Okay, have you ever heard of Chat GPT? Anybody? Let me see. Okay, Chat GPT. Okay, so later on I'll talk more, go into more that the AI and academic writing. So can really the robot help me write? Ah, yes, actually, but you get the it's there's a little bit what they call that a gray area right now. There's a lot of news that the Chat GPT can help you write your dissertation, write your thesis, but eventually in the future, I'm thinking the plagiarism checker. I think everybody has heard of plagiarism. Like, I think is it required in the university for papers to get published? They would run the what call it? Turnitin. Have you anybody heard of it? Turnitin or I think authenticate something. There's a different types of different softwares that can check for plagiarism. So right now, some software claim that they can check whether it's if the paper is written by Chat GPT, so they can do that. So eventually, so it would be like you wrote your thesis using the AI, artificial intelligence, and later on people found out it'd be like some issues will come up. Okay, so let's start. We'll talk more on that. Okay, so you see this photo, like this is the author, and then when you submit a paper, your paper get reviewed. So it depends upon the type of there are different models for paper review. Some of them like single blinded, some of them double blinded. I mean, single blinded is that the reviewer knows you. Double blinded is that the reviewer doesn't know the authors, and then, of course the authors don't know the reviewer. But right now there's a going trend of open review. If you seen a lot of the journal Frontiers, it's an open access journal, so it's an open review system. So the reviewer names are published also together with so the authors know who reviewed their paper. So and then the comments are also online. So it's a very clear, transparent process of academic review. Okay, but still more traditionally, what I think maybe 90% or 95% of the publishing would do is double blinded. They don't know who's who, like that. Okay, so it's more fair, they're thinking. Okay, so you see that after you wrote your paper, and then these are the reviewers that giving you a hard time. But basically, like, if you think it's like a more of a constructive criticism, so people give you some advices, and then people give you some recommendation. They ask you to polish the paper to make it more better, but of course sometimes you're even me, I sometimes I met a very terror. I mean, in the Philippines, when you're studying, we're saying, oh, this teacher terror, so like give you a hard time, something like that. So it's so luck is a part of it. Okay, so it depends upon where your paper goes for. Okay, who reviews your paper? So who decides who reviews your paper? Oh, that's would depends upon the publisher. That's the policy. So different models. Okay, some models are the editor himself will choose the reviewers, but lately, as I've seen it, I've been reviewing a lot of papers. They actually check who does the same studies as what you're doing. So they probably would Google the keyword, or there's a system for that. If you submit to, like, say, Springer, I think everybody knows Springer, the publisher. So there are lots of big publishers: Sage, Springer, Taylor Francis, Elsevier. Those publishers, they have their own databases that has a lot of it's like when you Google Scholar. Everybody knows Google Scholar, right? When you go into Google Scholar and then type some keywords of your paper, you could see that a lot of papers will come up, and then you will see how many the authors know. So they would check that. So there are databases that this topic, who does similar studies as, you know, as your paper. So they would invite those for review. But of course, the reviewing is free. So if most professors doesn't have time, so it depends upon the model also. Again, the publishing model. Some journals would give credits, or if you submit, if they say these journals, you need to pay to get your paper published. It's open access. Later on, we'll talk more of that. So maybe I review for them, they give me like 10 points. This 10 points I can use in my future submission in their journals, something like that. But generally, it's like maybe 80%, 85% are free. Reviewers don't get paid, okay? So in the past, before, when you say that you want to publish your paper, it's like, if you think what you did is something worth it, it took so much time in doing studies, doing research, you know, and you did the thesis defense. So thesis defense is a sort of already being reviewed by a panel of experts. So there's your advisor and there's the reviewer, and then of course you wanted to let people read your work. So that's why scholars publish their work before. So the term publish or perish, you know, it goes with the changing or the evolution of the academia, the education, you know, the academic itself changed. So before, we just published because of scholarship, and then to some of them try to do it because of trying to get promoted. So and I know, as I'm mentioning a while ago at the start, teachers have been elementary, high school teachers, and then in the Philippines, I know you publish on paper, you get promoted like teacher 1, teacher 2. There are requirements, and then you get a master's. Of course, the promotion, the teacher 1, teacher 2 levels are related to the salary, I think, you know. So, and then the same thing in the university. So right now I'm an associate professor. So in the beginning I was an assistant professor. So, and then I need to get promoted to associate, and I have to publish papers, and then my works are being reviewed, and then afterwards they would decide that I can become an associate. Okay, and then I'm working for my what they call the full professorship right now. So I need to publish again. So for a basis for promotion. Okay, so then later on, it becomes a requirement because of university schools need to have publications, and I mean they need to like earn points. It's like if you work in a certain school and then the faculty, you know, get published, they get points, and these points are being like prestige of a university comes with the numbers of publication. Okay, so it becomes a requirement right now. Teachers are required in higher education, as in, you know, the basic education. I'm thinking it doesn't, not so strict, but still they would want you to, you know, the Ministry of I think the Department of Education, DepEd, wanted, you know, teachers to publish. I think action researches are being funded, as I know. Okay, so in the university, more strict. So there are let's say I'm being evaluated every 3 years. So every 3 years at least I have like around one each year, like that. So there are certain policies depending on the level of accreditation of the university. Okay, so just to maintain your job, faculty that needs to publish, so it's more strict. And then in really good positions like my university right now, they don't want me just to publish, they want me to publish in good journals. It gets so more like maybe tougher, you know, they need more stricter rules like that. So because if you just publish, maybe that they would say that the process is not that strict or something. So you need to publish in high impact journal. High impact journals like those really journals in your field that means a lot. Like people are reading those journals in your field. So different fields, different journals. Okay, so and then of course those publications can translate into like the prestige of the scholarship of that professor or that teacher. So and then it will reflect how the opportunity of getting grants. That's it. So it's like that. It's like we would call that a circle. So you get published, you get more publication, you're able to get grants. You're able to get grants, you're able to we call that do researches, because doing research is not free. You need to like let's say you have a survey, people answering a survey, you get paid, or any you need to buy what they call that access or software like the any familiar with SPSS, the if you're doing quantitative studies, it's not free. SPSS you have to buy unless your university have that. Okay, so and then of course the promotion thing again. Okay, the better journal that you submit your paper is, the easier to get promoted. Let's say in my field, the best journal is EAQ, Education Administration Quarterly. Some people say you get published one paper, maybe it will take you like around 2 to 3 years just for the process. Okay, so that's crazy, right? So, and then they would publish like maybe like 12 papers every 3 months. So that's around, in a year, they publish 48 papers. So you need to take a long time for it to review. So that's crazy. So I would never think of submitting to that journal because, it maybe, so let's continue. So, and then the more, the if you're familiar with the ranking, QS ranking, we heard that in the university. So QS ranking or Times Higher Education ranking, those top tier levels university, they only don't have to publish and in high impact journals, and then they publish frequently. That's crazy, right? So just to gain prestige. So they wanted to get the rankings, let's say Harvard University, but those are very, up there in the ivory tower on the top. So, okay, let's talk the normal, the average people. Okay, so what basically is academic publication? When you go look into, as I've been, talking, it's in a sense, it's like dissemination of knowledge. Okay, supposed to be. So, but in a more, this is a in a New World Encyclopedia, I have a a reference there at the bottom. So I searched like publishing. If you get general publishing, is like including the publishing books, those things. I mean media publishing. So academic publishing is subfield, of course. It's meant for scholarship here. Scholarship meant for scholarship. So we can see that it's like an article or paper. Okay, there are different types of article. They may be review, book reviews. Also, you call that an article, also, or a commentary. A lot of people do that right now. And also, some journals also accept like how to use a certain software in their field of study. So, but generally would be article or research paper. That would means that you have data. Let's say qualitative studies, you did interview, those things, and then quantitative study, you did survey, you did something, and then some papers are documentary analysis, or so you mean it's like you analyzes a lot of a literature, all already what called the published data, you analyze it, and then you try to process maybe and some people will also do scoping review. Okay, so they look into what papers have been published, and then some papers right now are like scoping review. There's also a meta-analysis. You go into the data of the papers that were gathered from the scoping review, and then you analyze it, something. So there are different types of, and more types of paper. And then of course, book and book chapters. Book chapters are certain, of course, of the name itself, certain chapters within the book. So that book is composed of different chapters under a certain theme, like that. So book, I think we know that. And compressed paper, proceeding. Compressed paper, the proceedings are when you go into conference, and then they publish the, your presentation in the text as a proceeding. So these are all academic publishing. Of course, thesis and dissertation. Okay. So let's continue.